Now the Super Bowl game, which you won, who was that against?
That was against the Redskins.
With the Redskins, and that was the big run Marcus had that you see in every highlight.
Yeah.
So do you remember that play?
I do remember
What was
that
the name?
play.
What was the call?
That play was actually a toss, 18 or 19, and Marcus was going this way, and basically you'd pull the guards.
You were right or left?
I was the left guard.
Okay.
Although I wasn't, to tell you the truth, I didn't play in that game much because I'd had a back surgery that year that was really heavy duty. So, and I just got back about a month before the game, or 2 months practicing. So yeah, I was really disappointed. I barely got on the field, but I had to keep telling myself. I'll tell you this. So that play was flip 18, and he's supposed to go around this side, but he starts going that side, and all the defense is there, and he turned around, went all the way around the other side, and scored. So that was amazing. And talking about the Super Bowl, after a Super Bowl, you have this big banquet, and everybody gets their rings. Your coach gets up there, just says really good things about you, or okay things about you. You know, they're never going to say this guy sucks, but they'll say this guy needs a lot of it. He needs improvement, but he has the potential to get there. So anyway, so finally, and the guys get them in these boxes, your name on it, and then guys would open them up, and nobody knew what it was going to look like. Nobody. The first Super Bowl, they had 1 round diamond. The second, they had 2. And we knew there'd be 3 big diamonds on it somewhere. So everybody's waiting to get theirs. And I'm sitting by Pam, and I'm thinking to myself, I already played. I told my wife, Pam, I'm going to give this one to Dad. And she says, oh, well, whatever you want, hon. But, you know, I don't know. And so I get my ring. They said nice things about me. I'm happy I'm coming back strong next year and blah, blah, blah. So I sit down, and I'm just holding Dad's ring. And I say, I'll just look at it. And I cracked it, and I saw it. I shut it and said, Dad's getting the next one.
Can you put that ring up for us, for the camera?
Yeah, let me get it close up.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, Dad, there wasn't another one.
No.
There wasn't another one. Now, I heard a rumor that you donated a Rose Bowl ring.
Yeah.
Can you tell us
To
about
auctions. Well, it was for a good cause. I didn't wear it much, and I thought, you know, I could keep this as a monument to me, or I can give it to this auction and raise a lot of money for what they were trying to accomplish. So yes.
Was that Dawson's Place? Was that part of the auction, or was it? I think I heard the story from Seth Dawson. He's in Everett.
Yeah, I think it might have been
Yeah,
him.
and
Yeah.
he's the one that told me that you donated it. It went for a good amount of money,
Right.
and somebody, did they give it back to you, or did they attempt to, or?
They attempted to.
They attempted to. You didn't take it.
And I didn't know if he even really wanted it. I think he bought it so that he could give it back to me, which was very nice, very kind. A lot of nice people out there if you take the time to look.
Now, I heard a story. Everybody wanted to play for the Raiders in my generation.
Yep.
And, you know, from Madden to Lester to the Stork to the Snake to the Ghost.
Yeah.
I mean, and here you get to do it. I heard a story that Matuzak was going to fight Marcus Allen, and Allen was a rookie. So you must have been playing with Matuzak at the same time?
Yeah, I don't know this story, so go ahead. I
Well,
don't remember it.
Well, it doesn't feel right me
Yeah.
telling you the story, but
I'll tell you if it sounds like
Okay.
it might be true.
So Matuzak got into it with Marcus, and he says, I'm going to beat the heck out of that guy. And he was ready to go at it. And who's the guy on TV? Millen? Or
Long.
Howie Long. Howie Long said, I wouldn't mess with that guy. And Matuzak was like, what do you mean he's a running back? And he goes, that's the toughest dude in LA right there.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Is that true?
Yes, that is true. That kid, and even if you beat him the first time, he'd keep coming at you because he wouldn't want to lose. He's just the most competitive guy I've ever played with. As a matter of fact, I've said this a lot. If I had first captain, first choose, and I could pick any player I've ever played with, Marcus would be the top pick. And there's reasons for that. Number one, he's really smart. Number two, he can play his ass off. But number three, he blocks as hard as he ran. And you don't see that with running backs. I mean, he took pride in it. He would just nail guys. He would, on pass block, he'd be down there like that. And these guys would think they were going to run him over. And he'd just, boom, into them and back they'd go. And it was like poetry in motion for a lineman to see a running back doing that. And, and he wouldn't have backed down from Matuzak. He'd have fought him.
Reminds me of a Walter Payton type of player.
Probably. I don't know Walter, but yeah. Mm-hmm. I didn't, I just saw him play.
Now, you were the youngest offensive lineman to ever start for the Raiders up until going back to Gene Upshaw. Is that correct?
Right. The first rookie.
The first rookie.
To start for him
That's
for
quite
16
an honor.
years. Yeah, I was shocked, actually, when they pulled me in and said, you're starting this game. I actually had a broken rib in my last preseason game, and they didn't want to shoot it up because I just started, and they didn't want to start that right off the bat. Mm-hmm. Later on, not so much. They didn't care, but they didn't want to do that, so they put me on 4 weeks IR, a couple weeks off, and then a couple weeks just practicing really hard.
I'm sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt you. I was going to ask you the best defensive lineman you played against in college and in the NFL.
Howie
Long.
I didn't play a game against him,
but
we had some wars.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, Howie I tried to get a bonus out of it too. You make an all-pro team, you get thousands of dollars. And Howie did an all-pro team for Sport Magazine, which I don't think's around anymore. But he put me at left guard. And that was only because of those wars we'd have in camp trying to make each other better. And I made him really good.
So, what year were you when the injuries bug started to get you, the surgeries?
My second year.
Your second year.
Yeah. Oh, no, my third year.
Third year.
I started the whole first year, whole second year, came to camp my third year, and I was just really having fun, doing well. The coaches told me that I was one of two alternates for the Pro Bowl, which is like kissing your sister, Mm-hmm. It's, great. What do I get? A chance to try again. So then my third year, I felt like I'd had a back surgery at the UW my junior year, and I got that same feeling of the zinger down into my butt and leg. And when I went, to give you an idea what the Raiders medical thing was, I went to our head trainer and I said, George, my back really hurts. And he goes, so does mine. That was it. That was my medical advice. And so the next 2 days I had trouble. And the third day, we were doing pass rush stuff with the team. And Rod Martin and I, he used to do this. We'd go hard a couple times, and then he would pop this up. And he said, you know what that is? I said, no, that's the Union Seal. Oh, so then we kind of softened it up. He would put it right here on his hip to show me without anybody seeing.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough. Let's just slow down. And so I was all for that. But in the slow down mode, he came and he didn't hit me or anything, but he juked a little bit, and I tried to do that, and bam! It was like you snip the strings off a puppet. And that ended that whole year for me.
Knee or back, Curt?
Back.
Yeah. Okay.
And when they got in there, they said it wasn't a bulging disc. The disc had actually fragmented. And that's what it felt like. I mean, it was probably out there when my back hurt and when George's back hurt. And it blew up. So that was the first surgery. And then my saga began. And
The first of how many
uh,
total?
while I was playing, it would take me a while. No less than 10. Probably.
While
With
you were
scopes and all of that.
And you mentioned in your book where they would use the syringe to withdraw the blood, whether it be the knee or ankle.
Yeah, there's a
And then
picture.
they'd use the same syringe. They'd empty the blood. And blood means, for the sports fans out there, it means that it was a tear. It's bleeding. It's not white or clear fluid.
No,
They would empty it into a Dixie cup,
right.
fill it up with Novocaine.
Well, with me, they had to do it into a couple, maybe 2.5 Dixie cups. It was that swollen. And in my book, I actually put a picture of what it was like before I went and got it amputated, which my wife said, you should do this so you know what it looks like when you regret doing it. And so that's how it would look. And they'd have a lot of draining to do, put it in the cup, and then, like you said, they would fill it up with Novocaine and cortisone. And then you go out and play.
And that was it. No, I never found the Novocaine to work for more than 5 or 10 minutes. Did it last longer for you, or were you getting a bigger dose?
A bigger dose. It's not like the Novocaine you get like in college this is like a syringe
More potent.
that's about this fat.
Yeah.
Yeah, they load it in. You can't feel anything. You have to get used to running on a club too.
Mm-hmm. Now let's keep in mind, everybody, we talked about this earlier, but the doctors are paid by the owners.
Correct.
Huge conflict.
Yes, and it was so much worse than it is now. They finally, after all this stuff's coming out, the NFL hid anything that would make it look like someone would not want to play or even go into the football, because they just want that training ground. They have NFL sponsored Pee-wee stuff, and so they hiding everything, including the concussions, where you just go crazy and in the end and die from it if they don't end it themselves, which is a sad thing. But they were hiding all that, so they don't want the public to know that the doctor and the coach or the owner work together, because you're under contract and they're paying you whether you're out there or not. And if they want you on the field, they'll find a way to put you on the field. It's in the contract, It's the only way you can avoid it is if you stand up and say no, which is your right. And Marcus Allen, as we were talking about him earlier, called me when I was in my home, and he said, Curt, he said, I have an ankle injury, and they want to shoot it up and have me play. And I just wanted to call you and see what you were thinking about that. And I told him, under no circumstances, let Rosenfeld get anywhere near that with a syringe. It'll ruin, your joint won't get better, it'll get worse. You'll be able to play and maybe get whatever records you're going after, but I wouldn't do it. So I find out that that's exactly what he did. Art Shell was the head coach then, and he didn't want Marcus to take the shots, but he didn't call any of the shots. So Al Davis saw that as disrespect and an affront to the Raiders and an affront personally to him, and he set out, from what I hear from the coaches that were with him, that he said, I'll ruin his career. That's when he traded for Eric Dickerson. He activated Bo Jackson, and Marcus sat the bench. And there was nothing wrong with him. He was healed.
He didn't want to take the shot, or he didn't want to have the medical
it made no
procedure.
sense at all,
Yeah.
football-wise.
Mm-hmm.
But he just wanted to screw him over. And you can see when his contract ended and he went to Kansas City and he made 3 Pro Bowls, in a row and broke records and why he was a first ballot Hall of Famer. Al didn't do a very good job.
Didn't-
So shot himself in the foot just to get back at him. That is really sick.
Do you stay in touch with Marcus at all?
Yes, I talked to him, not now, really. Everybody's got such, and we live so far apart. But last time I talked to him personally was when he went in the Hall of Fame, and he actually sent invitations and was going to pay for his lineman that blocked for him to come back and be there. And I wanted to do it, but I was in the middle of having another surgery. So another thing, respect always goes both ways if it's going to stay there. And boy, he's a good man.